We are Brightside Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The Home Theater Podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights. Where are they?
The sound.
I've forgotten my bit. Oh yeah, the scenes. There you go. It's been a while.
Go. Hey, wait a minute. I got everything right but the buttons. How did you forget your bit?
Well, it's a lot of lines. It's a lot of dialogue to learn.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have it on a sticky note right in front of the screen?
No. It just says sell cockatoo, buy koala.
Oh, it's too early to start selling a cockatoo.
Well, it's never too early. It's
right back at it.
Yeah, it's always buying a cockatoo somewhere in the world. Anyway, hello, John.
So, how are you?
Who is on my timeline at the moment?
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
in my time. Well, kind of my time zone. He's an hour.
Yeah, he's
ahead.
actually still ahead of you, right? He's
He's
ahead
an
of
hour
you now.
ahead. Yeah. So he's in the future.
Oh, that's not bad.
John's in the future.
John,
Yeah,
no, you're past.
No, he's an hour ahead of us. I'm in his past, as in I'm in your future. John's in my future, because I'm 5 hours ahead of you, and he's an hour.
I don't want to do math. I can't do math. I can't do math.
It's been too long. Let's not do time travel.
Yeah, let's not. I mean, let's get back to the cockatoo.
Well, that's what she said.
I knew if I kept pushing that button, you would go there.
It's gonna happen. Apologies those who've just tuned in. We're a little bit demob happy after 2 weeks away. So we're
my god,
it's gonna get anarchic, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. I see. Let's get to the chat, and then let's go through the chat. It started a little late today, but then we'll get to what's going on.
Okay, so we've got Steve Atts was first in, and no one cheated tonight because, of course, you only set it up quite early, so no one could come in 24 hours before.
Yeah.
So Steve Atts is first in. Captain AC3's in. Van Ghoul's here. Mikey's in, of course. We've got Dom. Hiya, Dom. Scruffy's in. He was the one saying someone push play at 5 p.m. Somebody Rush is in. Johnny Speakers is in. And who else we got? Oh, Jordan's in. Yeah, hiya, Jordan. He and I have been DMing like crazy. Ariel Alanis is in. Brockstar's in.
Nice.
And that's all she wrote at the moment, although I think there's more.
There's definitely more.
Just whilst we're talking about who's in and if I may, and it may be something you're going to talk about as well, so forgive me if you are, but can I just say, we've had a couple of weeks away. There's been lots going on, as we've just been talking about. But so many people, DJ, hopefully I'm sure they have with you as well. Many people have reached out to me via email, via DM, via text, via YouTube message, and everyone has done the same thing, which is be very understanding, really keen to sort of just say how you're doing, and can't wait to have you guys back. I mean, to a person, no one has said, get your lazy asses back on the air. Everyone has been, look, no worries, take your time, and can't wait to get you back. And it's been really touching. I really appreciate that, and fair play to all the people that reached out, and thank you for that. It's very, very cool, and I think there aren't many YouTube shows, I think, that have an audience like ours that would be so supportive. Loads of them would just go, right, we'll get stuff then, and I'm going to go and listen to someone else. It's been very, very cool. So from my point of view, and I know you'll have your own Deej, but from my point of view, I want to say thank you to everyone that took the trouble to do that, because it's very cool. And a nice thing to do. So awesome. So thanks, ladies and gents.
Yes, absolutely. I can't honestly, you get everybody listening and watching knows me. If I talk about this too much, I won't be here very long. I'll be on the floor in a puddle. Which,
should have gone before we started, Deej.
Yeah, not that puddle. I'm not John. But yeah, from the moment the moment we canceled the first Tuesday show, it's like, and then even last week when we canceled that one, it's literally 24, 36 hours of messages from people, and it's different people. So like the first week, it was like 24, 36 hours of exactly like you said, Steve. It's like, hey, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself. We'll be here when you get here. And then, and then the same thing the next week, and then having a few conversations with people and stuff. But every time the messages came in, it's like I'd read them. I have to put it, or if I was with a friend or something, I'd show them, and they're like, "Where's that?" I'm like, literally people around the world, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like my friends are like that. And I'm like, no, that's these people. It's an amazing community, and I've talked to a few other. What do you call them? Influencers. I hate that term, and we all do. But other people that do exactly what we do, and they're like, you guys have the most like passionate people, and and everybody knows who I know and who we talk to and who I'm friends with, and there are people with huge audiences. There are people this, and it's like, no, we're not huge. But we are huge because the passion is amazing, and and that goes in all directions. So thank you to everybody. That's the best way I can put it. The conversation was the best, the messages. It was just, when, and to be fair, for anybody that's listening and doesn't know anything that went on, this is all just crap that I have to deal with. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's happy. Not happy. Everybody's healthy. And, everything's fine. It's just, it could be far, far, far worse. And it's just, just things you got to deal with. And some house related, some not. But yeah, this is just crap going on. And we'll get through it. And I think that's about it, because this is the bright side. And I got to mention it, but at the same time, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. I did talk, and let's go right into this. I couldn't have come at a worse time, because it came literally from the moment Steve, you and I haven't even talked about this yet, because there has been so much. It literally happened from the moment I landed from MWave. And I came back I got back here at noon on that Sunday, and it's like the plane just kept going through the ground by the time I got to my house. And I talked to Michael. We had plans to do some stuff. I'll tell you guys this afterwards. We were actually going to do a live show with him in the airport, because he had no time. I was trying to schedule something, and we talked about this weeks before MWave. We talked about it at MWave a little bit, and we thought, we made a joke about it, and he's like, "Oh, the only time I really have is in the airport." And then the two of us just went, "Wait a minute, that'd be pretty cool." Be like, because like we're literally trying to wedge it in, because that's what we wanted to do for you guys, for everybody, to be like, because just to show that like we're doing that, like what he's doing is for you guys, right? So he did every effort, and I talked to him briefly since then, because I wasn't able to do it, and he wasn't able to do it either, but yeah, so I don't know if this is what we were talking about at that time, but this is him and I at MWave. He was awesome. He saw my wife, and before I was in a meeting or something in one of the seminars, and he found her, and he's like, he brought her into me. It was pretty funny. He's like, she's like, "He's such a nice guy." I go, "Well, what did you think?" But yeah, and then actually when I'll do this one here. It's like, this picture was taken before I even got there. And this motley crew. So that's Johnny Speakers and Danny Speakers going from left to right. And then the other guy's name's Steve. Oh, it's written on his, luckily it's written on his badge. That's John. So, so they were there, and they're walking. Actually, John's actually got on an MWave shirt by the time I saw him. He already so I don't know when this was taken. It's very early. He had on a Bright Side shirt as well, and he was walking around, and it's like, and Michael comes up to me, and he's like, "Wait, what?" he was one of the first people I saw when I got there in the morning, and he comes up to me and he's like, gives me a big hug. He goes, "Your people are killing me. They're walking around here in your stuff." And I was like, "Sorry, buddy." No, it was great.
Yeah, well, I saw a picture. I think you put it up on Twitter. You kind of, it looks like there's a table and you're stood at the end, and there's someone talking to you, and Jen's next to you, and there's like there's a queue of people.
Oh no, this is one where this is John, me, and Johnny speakers and John. So
and there's a queue of people, and it looks as though they're queuing to speak to you.
Oh, really?
There's when you put up, it looks like you're kind of holding court, and there's this queue of people waiting to talk to you. I think they're looking at whatever's on the table. There's you and Jen's next to you, and you're talking to someone, and there's all these people down there.
I don't know if I saw that. I don't have that one in here. Jen has some pictures that I know. It's like she took most of the pictures, and maybe she didn't send that one to me. It was you know which one that was? I bet you that was Greg, I think. And Greg had, if I remember right. So I ran into Greg. I ran into a bunch of people, which was awesome. It's Mikey said it's our Evolution. I thought it was this one too, but it's not because Jen's not next to me in this one.
Yeah, there's a queue. You're in the foreground. Jen's next to you, and then there's a queue of people off down the hallway that all look like they're queuing to talk to you.
Right. And I think it was Greg had come up to me, and he's the one. He's got the Gramani theater. Like he actually has one, and we were right outside, I think, the room, and he'd come up and he's like, "Hey," so maybe that was the one. Oh yeah, Mike saying Danny posted it. I think.
Sorry, Mike.
So that's why I don't have.
Yeah.
So
it is funny though. It is a good pick, and it really does look like you're holding court. You know, it's like you needed a bright side grotto, so they could come and sit on your knee and ask you what they wanted from AV Santa.
Yeah. And honestly, it's like we come home and when we did go out, like obviously I said, we went out and we saw friends and everything, and people would ask like, how was it and everything. And luckily Jen was with me because I'd always just be like, it was nice. Because I don't want to talk. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, these people did this. But Jen was like, you wouldn't believe like the people. She was blown away. Like the listeners coming up to me and talking to me, and she's like, people are asking for pictures. I was like, and I'm like, and she was just so fun. It is, right? We talk about that, but it was so nice. It was so great, and it's like that's one of my biggest regrets is that Tuesday going that way, because I would have been so much more like yay, and now I'm like, and I'm not, and it's like, and that's one of the things I said to Michael. I was like, I wanted to have him in because I want to promote next year's. I want everybody to know, but at the same time, you didn't have to do it right then and there. It's like I'm going to be talking about it all year, right? I can't wait for 2025. What I experienced there is, and it wasn't supposed to be about me, and it's not about me. And it's like, I'm glad everybody went. I'm glad we were there. I don't wear the shirts to promote me. I wear the shirts to promote like home theater, and that people can come up and be like, all right, this is what we're doing. And Michael understands that. But what he's doing there is probably one of the most incredible things an influencer could do, because I think he's changing the landscape. I really do, for home theater enthusiasts. We all do shows. Like you're sitting in your little room. I'm sitting in my basement. I'm a donkey in the basement. I've said that for years. Michael's literally saying, well, let's see. They don't have this. They don't have access to this. So I'm going to build something. I got an idea. And if it can build to this, it's going to be bigger than Cedia. It's going to be bigger than, anything else, because these are the passionate people. And this is something I'm not talking out of school. I would talk about if Michael was here. This is one of those things that CD is not about passion. CD is about people selling. It's like, here, this is where all the people that are going to sell this product get together and they schmooze and they do this, and it's great. And maybe me talking like this won't get me invited back, but that's what that one's about. It's all about the companies, and they're selling themselves to the people that are going to be selling it to you, right? It would be too crowded, it'd be crazy there if they let everybody in, and that's why they don't. That's why they draw the line. But what Michael's doing here, these are the most passionate people. These like everybody that showed up at MWave, everybody that wants to be, whether you could make it or not, because Michael did, I think this year, not I think. He did like you could pay the same price as the admission to live stream events. So like even if you can't get there, you can be there video wise. And then we did have that conversation. Like people would complain, well, why are you charging me the same as if I went there? And before he could go on, I go, well, it's a lot cheaper. You just have to pay for the admission. You don't have to fly there. You don't need a hotel. And he goes, that's what I said. And I was like, and people don't understand how expensive that is to do, to rent that hotel, to get all that to it. I mean, it's crazy money. And it's like, if you think for a second that he's getting rich off of this, you're nuts. Because he's not. It's more headache than it's worth. But that headache is worth it to him and everybody else that worked on that. John Brock being one of them was awesome. There. John, I was like, he's running around. He's got a walkie-talkie. He's talking to me. He's like, gotta go. Got an issue. And all he did was volunteer. That's all he did. And there were other people just like him. And Jen's like, so what is he? I go, he's me. He's just a passionate guy that's like, how can I help? And it's like, he stepped up and helped. And that's how Michael's getting all this done. People are stepping up and saying, what can I do to help? And he's taking them up on it. So if you want to help, go help. If you want to go. He needs everything. He doesn't need anything. That's what he wants. And that's what I think. And everybody that was there had a blast talking to people there. And there was one guy, I will tell this story, which I thought for people that say like there's no new people in home theater, guy walking around comes up to us at we happened to be just where it fell. We were first in line for the next viewing in the Gramani room, right? We just happened to be there, so we're by the poster for it. And this guy comes up and he's like, what is this? And Johnny Speakers who's awesome. Johnny Speakers, he's like, well, this is he explains what it is. And he goes, and this guy, and then he goes into a spiel on our podcast. This is what you want to listen to, blah, blah, blah. Because the guy goes, I'm new at this. I don't know what anything is. And that's what I spent like most of the day, the rest of the time. I go, there's a guy here that doesn't even know what this is, but he paid to get in. He's there. But because he thinks he likes home theater, doesn't even know what it is. And that was one of the things, like, it was amazing. And it's like, that's how people are going to get the bug on this. They're seeing something like this. Maybe they're local to that Kansas City area, right? And they're like, oh, what's this thing? I'll go check it out. Or people like us will tell our friends and be like, oh, that sounds interesting. Are you going next year? And that's how it's spreading home theater, but it's also giving people like us an outlet that we have never, ever had access to before. Because it's literally all for us. That's what it is. So
that's very cool. Very cool. I don't know if this is the guy you've been talking about, but Don Hensley says, what's up, DJ? Great meeting you at MWave.
Yep.
So there we go.
Yep.
So
yeah, great meeting you as well, Don. It was awesome. I mean, it's just, it was so much fun. So much fun. Yeah, we'll get to that one afterwards, the talk. But yeah, MWave. Yeah, I got some pictures. I got some stuff, but it's just like, oh, here we go. I was just talking about him. Yeah, that pops up. Me and John in front of the MWave poster. See, I got my sneaks on. Let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, you saw that one. Yeah, this one here was Raphael. He came up to me. He's like, DJ, because we'd talked before, and he was like, I happened to be standing there, but I had my back to it, and then he tapped me. He's like, DJ, and I was like, and I came home and I tried to buy one, and I couldn't find it. I literally tried to buy it. It's like $800, $900. I was going to buy the new one. Yep, here's John and I. I didn't get any with Danny's speakers, but I thought I had one, but I didn't get any with him. He hung out with us for quite a while too. I think Dan, in this one here, Danny's like probably just off to the side of this. But Danny was awesome. He was a machine. He was like, we'd be standing there talking, and they're like, where are we going to? Like, where'd Dan go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, he went off to that room because he had to go check something else out. And it was like, he's a machine. It was So much fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
See. Yeah, what else? Oh, here's this is John in Ryan's room, I believe. This is cool. That's Ryan right there. And this is his room because John did a few of the tours, and I didn't do any of those. I wasn't there long enough. But they also do, for anybody that doesn't know, they do tours where people in the area within a half hour of the hotel, I believe it is, if I remember right, half hour, 45 minutes, people will volunteer their room and you pay a fee, and then the fee gets split. I don't know if it was $200 or whatever, but the fee gets split between MWave and then the homeowner, or the theater owner, I should say, right? So if you have, like my theater here, for example, if I did it, I have 5 seats. So you'd have two groups, 3 days, 2 groups a day can come in, of 2 groups, or a group of 5 can come in, and that's what you book. And then once it fills up, it's done. And they closed out like that. They fill up fast. And there's so many people that have never seen somebody else's theater. They've never seen a theater. They just know they like home theater, but it's like so hard to do. And like, where do you just go and be like, can I come see your theater? What's a theater? Okay, next house. How do you find one, right? So that's what they hosted there, and they'll tell you when he writes it up for anybody that, and like I said, I'll be talking about this all year, but if next year when they start posting these things, if you have any interest, because they're like these crazy like high-end theaters all the way down to people that are like myself, like a DIY that you're trying to do everything, and like, but then there's also speaker layouts, like certain you want to see a Paradigm speaker, whatever it is, you want to see this kind of setup, you can experience all that. Oh, you've never experienced a projector system? Here, try this one or see this one just to see what it's like. And you can see it in its real world environment, like a real home theater, not a demo. Like, as great as the Gramani rooms are, you're like, it's limited when you experience it at like MWave or Cedia. And I experienced, for instance, the Gramani room in both places, and there were pluses and minuses to both places. And like, I'll say, like, as an example, at Cedia, the bass didn't really resonate the way I wanted in the Gramani room in Cedia. It was awesome. My wife actually liked it because it didn't have the punch that she's used to here. I like that punch. That one didn't. But now at MWave, they had a dedicated room that they actually shrunk down with curtains, but it was a dedicated room. It wasn't a big open floor like Cedia. And they were able to control it as best they could. They set this place up in under 24 hours. And it fully calibrated, over $1 million theater. And it had the punch. You got all. I was like, yeah, this is what I like. And even she said, she goes, that was nice. It wasn't as good as what we have here, but in my eyes, I'm not saying my room's better than a Gramani room. I'm saying the punch that I got here, which, if that's what you want, you can dial that in. If you don't want it, you can dial in a different way. I don't know. You could take a Gramani theater and it'll be better punch than what I have. Other theaters have that. But my point is, it's like, there's limitations you can get when you get those demos, but they are still awesome. But to go and visit a theater, a real person's home theater, and you can experience, and I guarantee you, even if you have one, when you walk in, you're going to see things in those rooms that you like, and there's going to be things you don't like. And that could be in a theater that's like, and I've been in theaters that are way, way superior to mine, and I'll walk in and go, I would have done that. And there's nothing wrong with that, because our theaters are a piece of art. Just like I say it all the time, we're making art to display art. And the way you build your theater is on you, and don't let anybody tell you did it wrong. A la Mikey Schramm, the guy stood in his living room and almost said a bad word, because that angers me. And it's getting harder to control my anger. But don't let anybody tell you did something wrong, because as long as you know why you did it, it's like, then be happy. So Steve, do you want to talk today?
No, I'm enjoying listening to it. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But yeah, no, you exactly that. You build your theater how you want to build it, with the budget, the parameters, the layout, with the room that you've got, the space you've got, the time you've got, the money you've got, and as long as you're happy with it, then that's good. I mean, that, what more do you want? We're not here to just make it for someone else. What's the point of that? You need to enjoy it yourself. So yeah, no, I get that. That. It did look cool. The pictures that I saw that were put up look very, very interesting. But yeah, what have you got there? Those cabinets?
This here I wanted to mention because I haven't even replied to it. I still have Redbubble on my phone. Just as we were sitting down, my buddy Ara, everybody know Ara Dadarian from HT Guys podcast. I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks. And then I just happened to see this picture, and we walked by this at MWave, and the first thing my wife said, she's like, "That looks like something Ara would make." And I was like, and I did. I took this picture and I sent it to him, and I was like, and told him exactly what she said, because it's like I've got cutting boards. I got, Butch, my parents have a cutting board from him. I have I have my speakers. So she knows like his woodworking stuff I'm doing on my house has come like with influence from him. He's helping me design a couple of things. So she knows the woodworking. It's funny just to be walking around and just her go, "Hey, that looks like something Ara would make." And it makes me feel good when you hear stuff like that, even coming from her, because like the listeners listening to us, and like, that's what I was and am still to Ara and Braden. And it's like, and now I'm like, he's like, one of my best friends. And it's like, and that's what this community is becoming. And that's why when people come up to you at any of these things, whether it's like talking with Shane and it's the grocery store, or you're at an event like this, and it's like, oh, and that's one of the things my wife said too. She's like, "How do you talk like this?" And it was like, yeah, I think we did talk. Me, Dan, and John said something like that. Like, I don't like people. I don't like pretentious. I don't like to talk to people. And we said, but how do you talk to these people? And I'm like, and I looked at all of them and I went, none of you are pretentious. This isn't pretentious. We all love this. I could do this for hours, and I have 24, 5 of them.
I think it was 26, 27 nearly.
Yeah. But I saw Brett there too.
Good old Brett. How
Brett
was he? Was he horizontal or vertical?
It was great. Super busy. We got a chance to talk. He in a closed room away from people for a little while. But yeah, he was super busy. He was doing seminars. And I love this podcast. I love talking to people because I'm going to tell the stuff that's not going to get me invited back. And I hope the poor guy that said it isn't in the audience. I mean, I hope he's not one of our listeners. So in one of his seminars, he's like, what is the proper speaker placement? Like, what is the angle? Like, speakers, a 2-channel system, or your speakers at the front of the room, what's the angle they're supposed to be at, right? So like a proper viewing angle, how close you're supposed to sit from your screen. It's supposed to be like a 45 to 55 or whatever it is degree field of view, right? And Brett's like, now he's got the microphone, he's talking to a room full of people, and he goes, what's the proper, sitting distance or viewing distance of these speakers? How far apart should they be? And a person's like, 0. I'm at the back of the room. I was like, 2 speakers stacked on top of each other? I'm like, what? I was like, I went up to him later and I was like, how did you keep a straight face? Because I know Brett and I'm watching him and he just went, okay. He just was so nice. I'm like, 0? I'm like, okay, maybe he didn't understand the question, but I'm like, 0 is like, they're next to each other. Like, well, actually, not even. They have to be stacked. It would be like next to each other would be 1. Like, at least it's a different angle. I was like, okay. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I just say quickly hi to Jamie. Jamie's just put a comment via X, Twitter. Yeah, hi Jamie. I think he's dropping in for the first time. So yeah, hi Jamie.
Oh, nice.
Man who has just returned from a week in Brooklyn and has come back to the UK with armfuls of 4K discs.
Oh, nice.
He asked me, he DM'd me for some recommendations of discs to get, and I did that, and he got those and more.
Yeah.
Man after my own heart.
Here's one. Next year, DJ will teach a class. I literally
self-defense, anger management.
No, not anger management. Not anger management.
Anger mismanagement.
Yeah, exactly. Literally talking about that. Brett and I talked about it a little bit. And I think there is a place. I am not an expert, and that's the point. I talk to the experts. I know, everybody knows I have them on the show. I have great conversations with people. And, just think about here's my idea. Here's what I want. And, Michael, this is what I want to do. He knows it's so based off the conversation that I've had with people that are experts, and to be able to sit with, I got to figure out who else can get there, but it wouldn't be just me, but it would be, and you guys all know that have been listening a long time. It's like what I say to people, I'm like, no matter who the expert is in whether it's Anthony Gramani or Chris, it's any of these people, you're just like, even Brett is an expert, right? They all do these things, but we are too. And what I would love to do is to have like a seminar where it was like, we go back and forth and show people that we are them, they are us, right? And it's like, they're just getting paid to do it. We're just doing it for ourselves. And not everybody can afford an Anthony Gramani, right? Or a Keith Yates to come out and do your theater. But us doing it, me talking about doing it, isn't a threat to them. It's like, we were never going to have them anyways. So talking to Anthony, what Anthony's doing at his thing? He's handing out like, who here is building a theater? So I put my hand, I didn't know where it was going. And he gave me a card because what he was doing, he's like, here you go, a half hour with me. Boom, boom, boom. And you get to have me for a half hour, and I'll just help you talk you through any issues you have with your build. Right. And I'm like, I gave it back. I'm like, I can get you. It's like, he's like, Brett, just here we go. And but that then it's not a threat. It's we in doing this isn't a threat to them, because their clientele isn't the passionate people that we are. They are, but now they can do that. And that's nothing against Greg. Greg has a Gramani room, and if I could afford it, I still wouldn't do it, because this is the part that I love to do. Right. And I did talk about that weekend, but at the same time, if you can't afford it and you want it, like you, Steve, that's how you do your stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't change your passion. But I feel like a lot of the FOMO people get is they're afraid they're making mistakes, and that's okay, because all the experts I've talked to, that's how they became experts. They made mistakes and corrected them. And that's all we're doing. Right. Yeah. So,
yeah. I mean, I set up a number of ones before I, had this one installed, as I said before. Yeah. So I went through that trial and error. The reason I wanted it done with an installer is because I wanted it all done in one, and I wanted it stress-free. And you know what I'm like with my very, very particular nature. I can't stand things that aren't right. So I thought, I will pay through the nose. And I will have it done by someone who can take that stress away and make it easier. But I was in a fortunate position to be able to afford to do it. Had I not been in that position, I would have had to have done what I've done before, and just do my best with what I know and what I can do, and build it up over time. But yeah, each way I can see the advantage to it and the attraction of it, because I have had problems with it. I mean, I'm still going through the issue with the subs at the moment, trying to get the installers back out because I want it sorted. If I had installed it myself, I wouldn't have the worry about, I don't really want to get behind there and start pulling cables, because I would know it. So it's not a complete fix. I mean, installers have their pros and their cons. So either way absolutely has merit. And I get it. I'd rather not tinker with it. But I get why you guys do it. I'm in the minority of that. But there it is.
Yeah. And it does, hiring a professional to do anything in your system, whether it's the entire system or a calibration or anything, it removes that FOMO, because you're like, well, this is what it's supposed to be. And it gives you the peace of mind to enjoy the content, right?
Yeah.
I do enjoy. See, I'm at a point, and I don't think it's a brag or anything. I've been doing this far too long for this to be a brag. I've screwed up so many times that when I talk to people now, like even like a Paul Hurt, he's literally an industry professional in sound alone, right? Just in every conversation we've had, he's been like, yep, okay, you know that. Okay, and it's not like, and I'm an idiot. I can't learn like from a book. I have to learn by falling. I have to get hurt and just correct it, right? So that's how I've learned over the 30 plus years I've been doing this. And then now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't, it wouldn't even be fun for me to have like Gramani come out and do my room, other than to say I had Anthony Gramani do my room. It's more fun for me to say, it's not a Gramani room, it's a DJ room, but I'm not that far off. And it's like, I mean, his would be better, but at the end of the day, it's not like I'm like, oh my God, it's like, it's not, it's still a really good experience that I'm going to provide for myself. And, that's part of the fun for me. I did it. I made it. It might not be perfect, but it's mine,
Yeah.
And
you know it inside and out, and foibles and all, you know what it is, and you know where it is, you know what to do to change it if you need to.
Yeah. Like my kids. They're not perfect, but I made them.
No comment. I'm not mentioning the kids, Deej. I know what happens when I do that.
I love them all the same. I love them. I love my kids. And we have, it's like our group, and my kids now are growing to 4, because I have, the in-laws, but they're my kids. And it's like, I love my kids. We have a group chat in the name of it, Good Looking Monkeys. We're all idiots. We know it. And it's like, but we love each other, and it's cool. Just like my theater. Good Looking Monkeys. That's what we are. We're idiots. I'm a donkey in the basement, a family of monkeys, whatever you want to call it. So, anything else?
No.
I got one here.
Yeah,
I got one here, but we'll segue out of this MWave. There'll be plenty more over the year. But I saw this in the chat, and I thought it was interesting. I haven't been on Twitter. Hopefully everybody else has. Van Gool saying, I want to talk Twister, and I don't know. I don't have my copy. The only reason I know this, Ralph texted me like the moment he heard it. He got his copy. I'm sure. I'm hoping he already wrote it up. I'm hoping that you guys have already seen it on Twitter. But he absolutely. We had a chat about it through text, and he's like, "This is insane." I haven't gotten a copy yet. I want to, and we talked about the import versus this. And one of the things I said to him is, I'm like, I'm wondering if this new one, I would speculate that he hasn't heard the import. I have. He's heard the new one, and he said it's amazing. The best. I hope he already put it out, because it was a while ago. Like a week ago, we talked. It's one of the best audio tracks he's heard. The detail, everything that he's heard, it's amazing. So I have to imagine that it's got to be a new track, right? Have you heard anything, Steve? Have you heard the write-ups or read anything?
I've had a conversation with Bill Hunt from the Digital Bits.
Okay.
Who believes it's the same mix as the German release. Yeah. He thinks, I mean, it's an awesome mix. I mean, we thought it was great. So, I mean, unless Ralph has got both and has compared.
No, he hasn't. I was telling him I can't wait to do it.
Yeah. Well, Bill Hunt, as I said, is saying that he thinks it's the same mix. He doesn't think it's new. So I mean, I don't know. We've got it coming out here in September, I think. Or Jordan is in the chat. He'll tell me, he's my release date guru. I think it's September, maybe August, when we get the 4K disc. But I'm I really like the soundtrack on the German import Blu-ray. If people are wondering what we mean by the import, and I don't think the video quality can be much better on the 4K disc. Although again, Bill Hunt said it looks really good. So I'll pick it up. I'm not jonesing for it. I've got a really good sounding version, and I'll pick it up because there's a lot of people in the chat saying I can't get hold of it and it's short. Fine, I'm not that bothered about that. I'd be quite happy to wait for it to where the drop in price will come out and be easier to get hold of. If you've got the German import Blu-ray, you've got this movie sounding amazing anyway.
Right.
So I think if you have already imported it, don't kill yourself to get the newer version. I don't think, but obviously it's up to you. Oh, September, there we go. Yeah, I thought so. Well,
boom. I just checked. I haven't checked, but I'm doing it right now. $9.99 to upgrade my Kaleidoscape.
There we
go.
go.
Guess what I'm doing for next week? I'm upgrading right now. Special upgrade offer.
Well, I might re-listen to the Blu-ray then. I could always give that another watch, and then we can compare and contrast.
So I've been waiting to see what did that drop today, Twister?
I think that's what the suggestion seems to be. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, Shane. All right, Shane's in. Hi, Shane. Shane says it's a totally different mix. Yeah. Hey,
nice.
Shane. Okay, totally different mix. Interesting. Shane, have you compared the two? Have you listened to both? Because I know you are the kind of guy that would have tried to get hold of the import. So can you let us know if you've compared them? That'd be great, because that is something we have not done, and I haven't spoken to anyone that has.
Yeah.
So I'd be really, really interested to know if you have. But yeah, no, I will. I'm now more curious again. Then after Bill said that to me and said, "Oh no, he thinks it's the same mix," suddenly less enthusiastic. But if it is a new mix and it's a decent video, then I'll pick it up come September. I wouldn't import it though. I think I can wait. But yeah.
Here's the thing, and this is one of the things that I was thinking when I was talking to Ralph. Is I was like, as great as it was, the way he was blown away, I didn't feel like I was as blown away as he was with the German one. So I'm wondering if that could be ramped up a little bit. I don't know. And it could just be a matter of like, he's just way more impressed than I was with the exact same, like I hate saying it that way because it sounds like I'm not impressed with it. I was, but I'm just trying to stress how excited he was about the track, right? So yeah, that's
remember we talked, didn't we, about, I can't remember, do you know what, DJ? I can't remember if it was on the show or not. It might have been before I was on the show, but because remember we had Daylight and we had Twister. It's pretty much the same time, and you preferred Daylight to Twister, didn't you, the track, whereas I preferred Twister to Daylight. We had that conversation. I can't remember if it was on the show or not. But we couldn't quite agree in terms of, they were both great, but which one we preferred. And I preferred Twister. I love the opening of that. Just the way that moves around the room was awesome. Whereas Daylight's not got that for me.
Yeah, but see, what I liked about it, and I agree with you, I think Twister has more to it, but what I never, it sounds so bad to say it this way because it doesn't, I don't mean it to be like I don't like it. I love it. But to me, it's Twister is one of those movies that it doesn't have the nuance of Gravity, right? What we loved about the Atmos with Gravity, it's the detail on how they did it, how like everything meant something. Twister is just like what, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's just so crazy that the detail doesn't really, it's like, it could be anything spinning around you. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, it is a more dynamic than Daylight, but what I liked about Daylight was the echoes, the location of things. You know what I mean? It's so
yeah.
It's,
I just like the sheer sonic mayhem of the Twister Blu-ray from the beginning. Even when the logo comes up, it's all moving around the room, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm I like I said, I will get Twister. I mean, say we don't get it here till September. I'll wait for that. You know what I'm like, Deej. Normally I would have been importing it as soon as it was available, but with this I can wait. I do like the Blu-ray. I've watched it a couple of times. I really like the Atmos on that. and I'll pick up the 4K disc, but I'm not jonesing for it. But then again, I'm not jonesing for Twisters either. Really, we talked about that last time. I know, I know. I know. I don't know. They had the European premiere here at the weekend.
Oh, really?
And it had Tom Cruise and that. I mean, he's basically living here now, and he was there. And there were people that came out of that and said it's the film of the year so far. So who knows? Maybe it'll be great, but I something about it is just not quite gripping me thus far.
Yeah,
but there we go. But I am curious. I am curious about it. So we'll see. And guys in the chat, when you do get your copies and you do get to listen to them, let us know. Again, there are, Ralph obviously really liked it. I think Shane really, really enjoyed it. And so it'll be good to know what people think of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm like now I want to go watch because I just downloaded it, so I'm getting it.
Good man. Good man. Yeah, and is that the new? Presumably, that's the new version, the new mix, the new.
Yes,
or is that third version?
No, like what I'm getting on Kaleidoscape. No, I don't think so. Because Kingdom, Planet of the Apes, I bought today. The Bike Riders, I bought today. I actually had to make room on my hard drive for it to be able to do that. And then just talking about Twister, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't checked because it doesn't come up as a new release. Let me see if it came up as a 4K. Oh, it did. There it is. It came up, and you got to scroll down, the new 4K arrivals. So Twister just dropped today. So did Captain Phillips drop today.
That's out here Monday. Arrival. Yeah, that's out Monday here. Looking forward to that. That'll be great.
Yeah, but We Were Soldiers dropped last week. Queen, Rock Montreal dropped. Purple Rain dropped. I bought all of those. I can't wait. I keep meaning to sit down to Purple Rain. I haven't been able to, so.
Well, I keep meaning to watch the Queen one. I really do. I can't wait to see that. And yet I just keep skipping it for loads of other stuff that keeps coming down the pipe.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So, all right. You want to jump to one right now? And
yeah.
You
Spin
have
the
a
dial.
ton here. Are we going to get all of these this week?
No. We can save some. We can save some. You take your pick. Let's do the two big ones, the two first ones, because I've been itching to talk about those.
So this one right here.
Yeah. Let's do that one, and then we'll do the next big one. Oh, hello. I see someone in the background there.
All right. Yeah.
Shane.
Under the wire before we segue back to Twister again. How you doing, buddy?
Did you guys already move off?
No,
yeah, I just got done.
Just about to.
It's like 90 degrees here, so I just got done mowing my lawn. I sat on the couch. I was like, "Oh, DJ's on." So I was laying on the couch, and you started talking about.
And you wanted to take a nap.
I was like half napping, yeah.
Well, to get a successful nap, don't make a comment because I'm going to bug you. You know how that works.
It's all good,
man. Shane, I was just this evening watching the tour of your home theater on YouTube. I literally only a couple of hours or so ago.
Oh, yeah.
So it's nice to see you there. Yeah, your new one. You were kind of showing the all the equipment, and I do like the pull down tray table thing that comes down with the pop up USB ports and the little thing that's very cool, very James Bond. At the back you've got a pull down thing in the middle. Underneath the projector, it looks like you've got three seats, but one of them pulls down to create a tray with drinks and stuff and a laptop sort of stand.
Are you sure that was mine?
Yeah. No, it's you, definitely you. Yeah, man. Yeah. It pulls down. It's kind of got it transforms almost. The seat transforms, so the little tray comes down in the middle, and it's got cup holders, and you push a button in it, and some power, sockets and things.
I don't
it's
think
definitely
that
you.
Was me.
Oh man, I'm telling you, right? That's it. I'm finding it.
Dude.
You gotta find it.
I'm gonna find it. I'm not having this.
While you're doing that and finding out whose it was.
Yeah, man. I know. I'm worried.
That's wicked funny. Shane, were you in earlier when I was we were talking about people coming up to MWave and stuff, and I was like, whether they come up to you, and I was busting your balls. I was like, when you told me that guy in the grocery store, I was like, whether you're at an event or somebody comes up to the grocery store, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Shane, nice. That's it, man. It's 5 months ago, it turns out. I thought it was more recent than that. Is that you, Mr. Lee?
Oh, that's me.
Pretty sure that's you. Is that
that's
you,
me?
Mr.
But
Lee?
that's my friend's home theater. That one's not mine.
Oh, it says home theater. Oh, okay.
So you're both right.
Yeah.
It was your channel, not your theater.
Yeah, I clickbaited a little
I
bit.
thought it was
At
yours.
the end, very end, I was like, this is not mine.
Oh, Steve didn't get there yet.
No, man, I was enjoying it so much. I didn't want to get to the end.
Oh, that's wicked funny.
However, those were my seats at one time. I gave them to him.
Oh,
They are
So you're
cool.
partially
I like
right.
yeah. Yeah, it's the Valencia seating. It's just, I've not seen one that's got a built-in tray that kind of transforms out of the back of the
Yeah,
thing
it's pretty
before. That's
cool. You can lift it up out of the
yeah.
way if you want to cuddle with your significant other, and then if you want to separate you guys, just drop it down.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
after
Not
the
going
argument.
the way you want. Pray.
Anyway, sorry, Twisters.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you
yeah.
just watch it? Did you get it on Kaleidoscape?
I just noticed it. I got the disc last week, so I did the review last week, and I remember hearing the Turbine edition first when that first came out. Like, what, a year ago, 2 years ago now?
Ooh,
And
yeah,
for whatever reason,
yes.
yeah, it was a while ago. I remember thinking, man, this doesn't sound good. Like, it just sounded like it was upmixed or something. But then, so I didn't sit all the way through it, and I didn't review it because I was just like, oh, I'm pretty sure they just upmixed it. Because, like, I don't know if those German guys would get the actual stems.
That's
or
what I
how they
thought.
would upmix it.
Yeah.
Actually, I know they don't, because one of the Warner's guys, he's in my Patreon, so he gives me all the info and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so this is like a whole new thing from Turbine. He's like, yeah, Turbine, they don't have the same sources we do. So it's fully supervised by Jan de Bont. And color grading was all finished by him and all that. So the green skies that everybody was kind of freaking out about, that was like done by him. And so was the audio. And I did go back, I'm gonna say a few days ago, just to pop in the German version and the US version. So the US version is basically a 7.1.2 mix. So if you're playing it in your height channels, you're only going to get the top middles that come out. So in my video, I said you might want to put it in the 4-channel mix. That way it spreads across 4 heights. Whereas the Turbine edition uses all 6 channels.
Oh, because yeah.
But the like the spacing and the detail, the nuance, way better on the US version. It just kind of sounds like they just upmixed the German version. I don't know 100% for sure, but from what I can hear and from what I was told, this is a fresh new mix, all the original stems and all that. But yeah, this just the spacing and everything, it sounds like a new current day mix that you would hear today. It's like one of the best ones I've heard. Like,
that's
recently.
what Ralph was saying.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
In the way Ralph was describing it, I was like, I didn't feel that with the German one. Like I didn't even put that together, like upmix in it. Like they didn't actually do, they basically do a computer version of what we would have done with our regular version here, right? You take a 5.1 and you upmix it with your processor. Well, they did it and called it Atmos, and that's what it is. And
right.
Steve, you and I have speculated that a lot of stuff gets done that way.
Yeah.
And you're like, which is better? But now just talking to Ralph last week, I'm like, it's got to be a new track, and then hearing you say the same thing, I'm like, yeah, that makes way more sense to what people are saying.
Yeah, you can hear it. I mean, just going back A and Bing it, I was like, oh my God, the space is it's such a cleaner sounding mix. So yeah.
In a movie that's like so hard to sound clean because it's insane.
Yeah. Well, quite. Well, I wonder then if it sounds cleaner than it would have done on release. So that because it by definition was quite muddy, wasn't it? It was literally trying to throw everything at you at once. Yeah, and it sounds like the remaster has significantly cleaned that up.
I would say the Turbine edition is kind of muddy in that regard. When you go back and forth, it does sound like it's a little bit more muddled sounding.
Yeah, this is one of those things where people go, it's like 2% better, and you don't really see the 2% when you go up 2%. But when you drop back down, you go, oh my God, because the Turbine was awesome. It was great. We all loved it. It's like, this has got the Atmos. This is better than what we had. But then when you get the reality, the 2% better, it's a little cleaner. You're like, holy crap. Now that Turbine sounds muddy. We thought it was great, but not anymore.
Well, quite. Yeah, because I did like it. I did really enjoy it. I mean, Twister and I go back, 96 it came out, wasn't it? So I had the VHS and the Blu-ray and then, the DVD and then the Blu-ray. And when I got the Turbine edition, it was like, wow, this is kind of the power that I've been looking for. But you know, and again, as I've said a couple of times on the show, I wasn't really looking forward to the new version because I thought, well, I've already got an amazing sounding disc. I'm happy with that. But from, you know, Shane, what you said, and again what Ralph has said, and Bill Hunt was very pleased with it. He didn't suggest that it's not good. So now I am more excited for it, but I will still wait till September when it comes out over here. I won't import it like I normally would. But it is good to hear it's great.
It's a little cheesy, but I love the movie though.
Yeah. Well, I do, but it's one of those kind of I don't need it yesterday, if you know what I mean. But come September, I'll pick it up. There's plenty in the meantime.
Steve,
yeah, for sure.
You see the comment there? It's
Carl.
It's apropos to what we're talking about.
But there's a man that knows about storms.
Yeah, and we were just talking about Carl before the show about Unhinged. So Carl, if you're listening, you and I gotta have a conversation, buddy. But Shane, if you remember, this is Carl Ellsworth. He wrote Unhinged.
Yeah.
You remember? You were. I think you talked to him in the during the 24-hour. You guys were in it together.
Yeah, he was on.
But but Carl's asking, and Shane, you can answer this one. But Carl's asking, hey everyone, confused about Twister 712 Atmos mix. Are 4K discs sometimes mastered with different Atmos mixes that use varying number of speakers? So,
yes,
Shane, why don't you take that because you're the literal expert on that stuff.
I would say yes, they are. Listen, I'm only going by the Trino object viewer, which shows you exactly what's in there. So, I would say that I was a little disappointed seeing only my middles were running for Twister. I was like, oh no, man. But after you switch it over to 4, then it's like, you know, it doesn't really matter too much. Just as long as it sounds good, you can tell a difference in it.
Yeah, that's right where I was going with it, buddy. It's like
those cows are actually moving around.
Yeah, but we get hung up on, is it 5.1? Is it Atmos? Is it this? And, you know, Nolan proves to us you don't have to do Atmos to be awesome. And even like, you know, that Trinov, the viewer can sometimes take your mind out of what is already great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. Because you're like, this sounds awesome. Oh, wait, it could be better if I had
it could be better. You know, that's like today. I mean, I reviewed Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes today, and there's like no Atmos in that. There's like 0.
Actually, Shane, really? You know what? That is spooky. Because earlier, before we started, I'm trying to find it now. Someone put in the chat, Shane Lee reviewed Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes today and said there's no Atmos. Where is that? Man, someone put it in the chat. Oh, yeah, there we go. Mikey said it there. There we go. So, anyone see Shane Lee's review of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? He said he's disappointed in the Atmos. So I haven't seen the video yet. Shane, do tell. Why is
that? Go watch the video. Don't tell him.
I was watching the one from 5 months ago, D. It's going to take me a while to get to that one.
Yeah, but you want people to go watch this video. I didn't bring them on to hey, now you don't have to watch preview. Him. Come here.
We can get trailers of Shane's videos.
I wonder if I should do that.
Yeah, but hey, man, that you can have that one for free. Look at that.
Why? That's great.
You'll have to do Trailer Man voice, though, Shane. You'll have to do, in a world where Shane Lee.
He already does.
He does have deep voice, yeah.
It's coming. You come
on my show and everybody yells at me. Why can't you sound like that? Because I'm an idiot.
It sounded like no Atmos. I went and I saw it at the theaters at the Dolby Cinema, and I remember thinking to myself too, though, there's nothing really going on in this. But then half the time it's like I don't feel like I can hear anything at the theater anyways until I get it home. And then it's just like, man, I woke up at 3:00 this morning to download it and watch it. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep. I'm not even looking at the movie anymore. I'm just looking at the viewer because maybe I'm missing it. And the first time I ever I wrote down all the timestamps of when every effect came on, which lasted for like 2 seconds. So it's like a total of maybe like 1 or 2 minutes of Atmos effects and the high channels in that entire movie. And I was like, man, this movie, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I like the movie. But
I remember when you first started doing those videos and I'd already wanted to turn off, but then they came out with that viewer thing and I'm watching your videos and it took me all of like 48 hours to be like, I need that. I want that. I'm moving money around from account to account. How do I get that? And then 48 hours later, I'm like, that viewer will ruin me. I'd be doing exactly what you said. I'd be sitting there going, you're not watching the screen. You're like, oh, yeah, I heard that. All right, it's over there. It's oh, yeah, see, it says it's right there. And it takes you out of the movie. It's like, how do you don't have to get into it. You and I have talked about it, but it's like, ruins it.
Yeah. Oh, man. I am looking forward to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, man. I love that film as well. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite films of the year. But expectations are now tempered for the home theater mix. So, yeah.
Yeah, temper them. Probably the biggest surprise this year is probably Abigail. That's probably like the best.
Oh, we like that
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
because is that Kaleidoscope? That's the 4K Kaleidoscope version. Is it shame? We're only going to get a physical Blu-ray. There's no 4K release anytime soon.
It's on Kaleidoscope or on iTunes, either or.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna have to get that. We both enjoyed that, didn't we, Deej?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was. I want sequels.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna do it. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, I didn't even think of that as for the year. I haven't even started thinking like so far this year. But yeah, and we're past halfway. That's crazy.
Yeah, most of them have been pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about a couple next, which I really did enjoy, and I think you did as well, Shane. Pretty sure you did. I don't know if you can stick around or whether you.
Yeah, I can stick around a little bit. Yeah, the way for that.
Yeah, man. Okay.
Well, I don't know. You got to get back to your nap.
I'm getting old, man. Come on.
Look at you go. Yeah. Yeah. Talk to me when you get up here. It's like, all right, let's bring this one on then if we want to get to.
Oh, man. Yeah. So
I haven't seen this one yet.
Okay, well, we won't spoil it. There are ghosts in it. So this is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I watched a good couple of weeks ago now, Deej.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're okay. What did you make of this one, Shane, in terms of kind of the movie, the experience? Again, trailer for your video. I think you've done one of these, haven't you, for Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I did that. I did that when it came out. I thought it was good. I mean, the Atmos was okay. There's some parts where I thought they're like the little dragon thing flying at the air at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I thought that should have been more Atmos-y, but it was kind of a little sporadic. Other than that, I mean, it was pretty good though. It was pretty good. I didn't put it in the nines or anything like that, but I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, the movie's good as it's as good as the I don't know. Are we talking about if we like the movie or not?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, quite. Yeah, because we often talk about whether the movie's good and then whether it was enhanced by the home theater experience. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, I liked it. I liked the last one a little bit more than this one did. This one kind of missed the mark for me at the end because I felt like they were doing the same thing that they did in the original movie, where all of New York came down to the firehouse or wherever they were, and they were kind of grouping around all the main characters. Except it wasn't like all of New York. It just seemed like the block came around.
Right.
So I felt like they tried to redo it, but it just felt on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
That bothered me a little bit, but it was still a fun movie though. I like the effects in it. I like the way they made the big bad guy. I mean, that was pretty cool. The effects on that was almost Thanos like of how real it almost kind of looked.
Yeah, he's really threatening as well, isn't he? Kind of for a PG-13 over there, it's a 12A here. It's actually quite a significant villain. I had a friend of mine who took his 4-year-old daughter to see it, who's a big Ghostbusters fan, and he took his 4-year-old daughter, and he regretted that. So kind of crazy. But I really enjoyed the Atmos on this. I liked how again, you're talking about the opening sequence. I like how it starts with lightning and thunder, and it reminded me of 300. The 4K Atmos version of that. So you get this kind of lightning and thunder that goes right around the room. And that was in the overheads, and that felt kind of, okay, this is what we're in for. And yeah, I really enjoyed. I liked the movie more than I thought I would, because I really liked Afterlife, and I liked Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and you know they're kind of cool. And I liked how the movie was fun. I mean, I laughed out loud a couple of times, and you know, I did think it was fairly snappy. There are some quite good stuff. I think Bill Murray's particularly good in this. You know, it's a very cranky old man now. He was kind of cool in this, and riffing on what he did in the first one, which I really liked. And yeah, I thought the audio was decent, really solid compared to, you know, some of the other ones. So yeah, I like this. But you're gonna have to see it at some point, Deej. Gonna have to get around to it.
So would you guys now? I've heard people's opinion on this. Would you guys say it's like home theater wise better than the last one, or worse, or equal?
I'd say it's about equal.
I mean, yeah,
really?
I think that's right.
The last one was really good.
Yeah. I think it is. I think for different reasons. And the other thing is the villain when he talks after he's got his powers, and that's not a spoiler, Deej. I mean, it's kind of an action movie staple, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when he talks, that feels like that's in all the speakers. You get this kind of this voice of the bad guy, which I liked how that sounded, and again sounds really, really threatening. Sorry, Shane, I haven't got a trim off to check, or, you know, an audio mixer. I'm just going by what I can hear. And so but it sounds like it's in all the speakers, and you feel that kind of that threatening presence, which is quite a fun little home theater thing that that people that aren't watching it the way we see it would miss. And I really like that as well. But I think you'll really enjoy it, Deej. I think you'll like this, given that you liked Afterlife. And everything's swooshing around. It doesn't make a whole lick of sense. You know, I mean, suddenly they've just turned up and suddenly they're ghostbusting in New York. And it's like, well, how did you get from the fields of wherever you were to here? And that's never really explained. But they've got, you know, they've got a ghost trap drone that flies around, and you get all that whizzing around in the overheads and all that, which is,
I know how you like
doesn't make any
Steve.
sense. Well, should we ask Shane what he thought of Evil Dead Rise?
I think we have talked about it.
I gave it like a 9 for audio. Like, that was one of the best audio mixes I've heard. Yeah.
What did you think of the film as well, Shane?
Not my type of film, but I own it. I thought it was good enough. I thought
we have an ongoing thing about Evil Dead Rise, Shane. I loved it. My
he had this movie of the year when Oppenheimer came out. And I know,
but
Shane and I
Shane's
are
not a fan
opposite
of
on Oppenheimer. Shane and I are the exact opposite on Oppenheimer.
I mean, I would probably pick Evil Dead Rise over Oppenheimer, to be fair.
Yeah. Shane, you should come here more often.
Yeah, he has his own show.
Well, you know, we got it. Can we claim him?
You should go there more often, Steve. You'd be caught up by now.
Hey man, that's true. That is true. It's but yeah, no, I mean, so this has drones, and the thing that with Evil Dead Rise, that drone at the beginning that seems to kind of hover in 3D space, right in the room. It's absolutely awesome. So this, you get the drone zipping around, and you get, you know, there's this dragon thing at the beginning that's flying around. So yeah, I think it's good. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Shane, in terms of there are better mixes. But it's fun for what it is. It's a Sony disc, as we often say, and they tend to be really solid. So yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. But yeah,
family friendly for sure. I'm not sure why they're going. I don't know if the next one is going to be like all kids being Ghostbusters or what. Like, I feel like that's where they're trending. So
I don't know
how I feel about that. But
it does feel like a kind of a goodbye to the legacy cast, doesn't it? And a kind of and then the next one will be a proper jump into the next
new generation, I guess. Of viewers.
I mean, it did make quite a bit of money. I think it did quite well, didn't it? So there's going to be another one. It'll be just a question of kind of how they do it.
They set it up. They set it up for like a whole franchise. So
well, what they're talking about, I mean, I read somewhere that the plan now is to bring in the real Ghostbusters cast, so that the voice cast and all that, and bring them into it. But you know, whether they'll do that or not, I don't know.
Here's another one. This is the one I did. And Steve, you haven't seen this one yet at home. And I want to know if Shane saw it and see what he thought of it, and I'll give my opinion too. But here we go with this one. So, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga.
I tell you what, man, that's probably my favorite movie this year.
Really? All right. Yeah, because
I think so,
Steve,
yeah.
you didn't like it, right?
What?
Not the
You
first.
didn't like it?
Well, I love Fury Road with an absolute passion. I love Fury Road, both in the theaters and at home as well. I mean, that movie is one of my go-to demo films. But where this one, the first time I saw it, I've only seen it once, was just not the movie I thought it was going to be. It's a very different genre to the other one. And so I went in thinking, Fury Road, here we go again. Yay, a prequel.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same movie, but a prequel. And what
Right.
unfortunately we get, it's a very different story. And I found Hemsworth irritating quite quickly on this. Yeah, and I normally like him, but I found his Dementus just was too much for me. I mean, it's almost Razzie level for me. I mean, at times he was perilously close to what's his face in Roadhouse, who's the UFC
McGregor?
fighter? Deej,
Oh
remind me.
God, no!
Yeah, Conor McGregor. He was on his way to
Oh
Conor
my
McGregor.
God, no! Because the thing is the fact that he acted that way that's him acting, right? Hemsworth isn't that person. Conor McGregor, that's what I was trying to tell you. He's not acting. That's who he is in that movie. So it's like, that's why I thought that's what's great about Chris Hemsworth. We see him in other stuff, and not just the Marvel stuff, but you see him in other things. And he's done some incredible stuff that's different, right? He literally can act. So what he did in this is an act, you know? It's funny.
but that makes it worse, doesn't it? That makes it worse, because if you're Conor McGregor and this is all you can do, or you're Hemsworth and you can choose which performance you put in, and you still go to that performance. Well,
that's
did
what
they
asked for? Well,
do you think he was told this is what you'll do? Like, no. Hemsworth says this is what I'm going to do, and they go, "Oh yes, Mr. Hemsworth. No, Mr. Hemsworth.
No.
3 bags full, Mr. Hemsworth."
I'm with Shane. I thought I had a blast with it.
I
thought it took me 2 viewings to see it.
I mean, both these movies are kind of over the top, so I figured his performance was over the top anyways. So I thought it kind of just fit in with the whole flow of the movie. I liked it because it had some elements of Fury Road. I mean, you still get the chases, but I thought the world building was better because watching Fury Road, I was like, where's Guzzletown and where's Bullet Town or whatever, and here it kind of tells you like what these places are. So I liked how they fleshed that out. I was kind of taken aback a little bit by the visuals because it's a cleaner looking movie than Fury Road. So it didn't quite have the same high contrast look. It just looked way more digital. So that bothered me a little bit when I saw it at the theaters. But, by the end of the movie, I was like, okay, this is kind of its own type of thing. So I got over that. But I think it fit really well within the world, and I just thought it was a little bit more expansive, not as high octane, although there are some pretty good, crazy high octane moments in the movie. Overall, I liked it. It was between this and like Dune 2. I was like, you know what? I've already seen Furiosa like 4 times already. Dune 2, I've only seen it twice, so I could see myself watching Furiosa more, I think.
I'm viewings. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on, Deej. Sorry, buddy. Go on.
It took me 2 viewings because my wife and I sat down to watch this. I fell asleep, but it wasn't because of the movie. I was just exhausted at the time. And my wife's like, "Do you want to finish this?" I'm like, "Huh?" Well, and so I came back to it, and I fell asleep, and she didn't wake me for like a half hour. And I watched it, and it's so funny. This is what I do. If I'm really tired, I'll go down and put on a movie I love, reference level, and just fall asleep. And everyone's like, how do you listen? I fall asleep to that. But I can. So she watched another half hour in, so probably an hour into the movie. She's like, she really liked it. And then all of a sudden it started to get that action-y pulse, and she was like, all right, it got crazy for her because she doesn't understand. She goes, what is this based on? I go, well, it's a prequel to this one, which is the saga that started all the way back with Mel Gibson in the 70s. She goes, what? Yeah. I was like, okay, so you have no idea what's going on here. But she did like the beginning, but didn't like where it went. I actually, when I watched it again, I loved the flow of the movie. I love everything you did. And it made sense to me what you were saying, Steve. Like, it is different than Fury Road, but there's shots in there that are literally right out of Fury Road. And you're like, okay, there's that shot, but now they made it look, to your point, Shane, like, it felt like, I was spitballing this, but then you said it earlier with the contrast. Do you feel like they shot this differently to make it feel older because it's the prequel? Fury Road has the high contrast, the high this and that. And then in this one, I don't want to say they flattened it, but you're right. And it just felt, but that makes it feel older, but it's the prequel that came after Fury Road. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Possibly.
I think
you're
it's
overthinking it.
yeah. Well, I think that what they've got here is the movie is much bigger in scale, but the budget would have been either the same as Fury Road, if not smaller, because that's just what they do with sequels or prequels. And so what I imagine is you've got a much bigger scale. You've got to shoot that for a less amount of money, and CG is the way to go with it. And you know, you and I have talked, Deej, about how CG can flatten the image and can make it just look a bit uncanny valley. And there's a lot of that in this. I mean, don't forget Fury Road, the mad so-and-sos went out into the Namibian desert with a load of cameras and stunt guys and were like, let's just run the car from A to B and we'll stick people on poles that are every bit as crazy as we are. And, you know, it was all done for real. There's very little CG in that other than the storm towards the beginning, at least complete CG scenes anyway. Whereas the impression with this is that there are entire sequences that seems to have been shot with maybe one actor in the foreground and everything else is digital. So whether that's because of weather and, you know, and everything else, but I suspect it's because of budget. You know, it's a bigger scale movie for less money. What do? You know, go to the guys at Weta or ILM and go, right, you know, make it for me. But you lose something. That's the thing about the Mad Max movies. You know, 1, 2, and 3, you know, have a texture to them. 1 and 2 in particular. You know, you can smell the diesel. You can feel the
that might
road.
be a problem with your room, but okay.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't like to say. Yeah, I need to get that fumigated more.
It did used to be a garage.
Yeah. Well, hey, it used to be. Yeah, exactly that. It was converted.
Exactly.
So you could be right about that. But do you know what I mean? They have a texture to those movies that Fury Road, I think, in the main continues with. And this is the one that is most removed from those. It's certainly the biggest scale by miles from any of the others. And I think that's a shame, but I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I'm going to buy the 4K disc. Of course I am. I'm going to see it again for sure. And I'm hoping, as with many movies, the second time round, knowing what I'm getting, I'll be more amenable to its advantage, you know, pros and less sort of upset at its cons.
There you go.
But we'll see. You know, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me like 8 times to really like Tenet. So, I mean, there's always that.
Oh, man, I've still only seen that once.
Yeah, you need to see that a few times. You see
Well,
more
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. But
Yeah, that's my favorite Nolan movie. Yeah.
Is it? It's one of my favorite. I would. Is it?
I would say
Does it
that
hold
one
up
and
to
then-
multiple rewatches then, Shane? Is it still something
Does
you
for
see
me.
differently each time? Because
Yeah,
I've only
'cause I'm
done
always
it
trying to
once,
figure
so I
out-
thought,
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. Like I've seen it, I don't know how
Right.
many times. I'm more than 8 times. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, does that make sense? Did I forget that last time?
Yeah.
It's one of those movies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It absolutely. I've watched same thing. Every time I watch it, like you understand something a little differently, a little better. Whether it's better or not, it's up to you. But you do understand things differently.
Yeah.
But see, I liked. I think you and I talked about this. I like Dunkirk too, and I liked how
Dunkirk 2. They've done a sequel
as
You didn't tell us
well.
that, Deej.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the line. That's the line from Fall Guy. Like, no, I meant also. No, I like Dunkirk because he kind of did the same thing where he had 3 different timelines,
Three timelines,
and you just kept jumping around until and then obviously with Tenet, it's done completely differently with the timeline, but he still messed with it, and that's what I like about Dunkirk. It's like he took a piece of history, right, and then he did
Made
this
it extremely
weird
boring.
Pulp Fiction thing, which.
Yeah, I think that I mean, Dunkirk was ruined for me at the IMAX. We've talked about that, DJ. There's Oppenheimer. Yeah, I saw it in IMAX at a theater. I'm in the southwest of England, and I saw it in an IMAX about an hour away from here, and it was hell. I mean, you talk about audio, Shane, and that kind of. I mean, the speakers were rattling in their cabinets.
Yeah.
It was so loud. It was ludicrous, and it became an endurance test, not an enjoyment test.
I
It was
usually roll up the
horrible.
napkins and put them in my ears when I get those movies.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know, you pay for it for IMAX, and then you're trying to kind of, you know, ear defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, defenders.
You know,
There you go.
it's crazy, but yeah, no, favorite Nolan film. I mean, I think it's probably The Dark Knight Rises for me. I mean, I know that's a cliche, but sorry, The Dark Knight. Forgive me, not Dark Knight Rises. No one says Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight, I think, is probably my favorite one in terms of easy to rewatch.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, I've got to be in the mood for.
Yeah. I mean,
But
yeah,
I've got them all in
like,
4K. I mean, you know, if they're out in 4K, I've got them. But yeah,
I'd say Tenet and Interstellar, my two faves. Yeah. Inception, but probably third too.
Inception's really good. I got Oppenheimer. I
That's
didn't want to
probably
mention
not-
it.
That's
That's why I
probably
was
my
like,
bottom of the list.
I know for you.
That's my
For me,
last.
it's at the top, and then I'd say Tenet after that, and then probably Interstellar in that order.
Is Oppenheimer
No
a
one's
movie you
saying- no
would
one's
rewatch
saying-
multiple times? Is that something you literally
Shane.
watch multiple times?
Shane, have you not been paying attention? How many times, Deej?
He's napping. He's napping. Jeez.
I mean, how many
We got
times?
to do a
Deej?
commercial.
How many
If you
times?
need a nap, Shane says, listen to Brightside Home Theater.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've seen it in my theater a number. I mean, I can't count. I watched it on the way to Cedia on my, did I watch it? I watched it. No, maybe it was to Expona. That's what it was. Cause I don't think it was out then at Cedia. I've watched it on flights. I've watched it I absolutely love that movie. I love the story. I love everything. John Thompson knows that we're like the same on that. It's like all we can talk. I can talk about it all day long. And if Shane is really looking for a way to sleep, I'll record myself talking about it and send it to you, and you'll never have a problem taking a nap.
And the guy
Or you'll
that
get
Deej is
angry at
talking
me.
about, Shane, the guy that Deej is talking about, John Thompson, who's a producer, he saw it 13 times in the theater.
Oh my God.
Including watching it with Chris Nolan with his own personal print of the film. But yeah, 13 times in theaters. And he's seen it at least that many times since at home.
Even if I was Chris Nolan, I have to like be pinching myself to stay awake. You're not looking at me, are you?
That's it. You got to sort of paint it on your eyelids in case you fall asleep. You know, paint eyeballs. So this is one that doesn't get enough love from Chris. I know we're getting off topic a bit, but Chris, not The Prestige.
What movies?
I mean, that movie.
Good.
I think The Prestige has been kind of largely forgotten, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
I really like that film. I mean, the twist.
I like it.
I don't think really makes any sense, really. But it's still a really good film and really well done. And you talk about a movie that stands up to multiple viewings, you know, because of that one, you know, just the little clues, the little subtle looks, the little kind of things that movie is as intricate as anything I think Nolan's done since, but on a smaller scale. You know, that's a drama, isn't it? It's not an action movie.
Yeah. I had to come up with that idea though. It's like, oh my God, you're making he's making copies of himself. I was like, oh, that's the twist. I was like, that's an interesting twist.
Yeah.
Was
there science?
What has he been smoking? Well, of course, Deej, in that film, there is Mr. Tesla, isn't there, Deej? Is it Tesla in that? Is that played by David Bowie? Is playing Tesla, isn't it?
Yep.
Sorry to bring you PTSD, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Always needling.
Sorry, I can do it safely from here.
Yeah, exactly. You got a little bit of water between us.
Oh
my God.
No. But yeah. Oh, and Rich just in the chat, he's saying about what do we think of the original Gibson Mad Max movies? I mean, I really like them. I mean, I think they are very much of their time. And I mean, they're the direct opposite of Fury Road and Furiosa in terms of the scale, but they're still great movies.
I went back and watched the original after Fury Road. I was like, oh, let me get amped up again to watch the original. And I was like, this is like definitely from the 70s. Yeah. I was like, where's all the CG, action, man?
Yeah. It's like a student movie. It's like an experimental film. And of course, the apocalypse hasn't really happened in that movie. it's kind of on its way, isn't it? It hasn't yet occurred. They're just things are very scarce. It's not till you get to the Road Warrior, the second one, where you then get the, it's kind of now post-apocalyptic. Right. And then, of course, if there is such a thing. And then, of course, you get Thunder Road. Well, not sure you can get post-apocalyptic, can you? It's got to be apocalyptic because it's happened. That's still ongoing, isn't it? It's not finished. So you can't have post-apocalyptic. There's no such thing.
What's an apocalypse? Isn't that like the end? And then
so you can't have survivors. What's after the end?
That would be post, I guess. Oh, we're gonna get into that. For the love of God!
Sorry, just occurred.
We're gonna put Shane to sleep right here.
Yeah, sorry, Shane. I can only apologize. We're not normally like this.
Yeah, we are.
Oh yeah, true. Alrighty, right. What are we doing there? We're doing another one.
All right, Shane. What are you up to? We're gonna go another half hour. What are you up to?
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, the wife is getting here around 7, so I'm good.
There we go. That's when we end. So here we go. All right, let's do your next one there, Steve, because this is what we're doing. There we go. Here we go. Bring this up.
Okay, so this is Godzilla X Kong, the new empire. So we've had Ghostbusters, the Frozen Empire, and then we've got Godzilla X Kong, the new empire. So clearly the word empire was not trademarked on that particular week when they were naming these. And these came out the same day in the UK. There was a gap between them in the US, I know, but they came out here the same day. And so I watched these Ghostbusters like Monday night, and then this on the Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it was. And I see. I like the Godzilla movies. I didn't particularly like Monarch, as we talked about the TV show, which I thought was a bit just, again, irritating characters and not enough monsters in their monsterverse. But I like the Godzilla movies. And of course, we've seen -1 fairly recently. And of course, by the way, while we talk about that, we now have news of a physical release in the US in September, I think. And it's going to be the Japanese 4-disc, both color and non-colored version, which sounds amazing. So that's a day one pre-order, that one. But I like the legendary MonsterVerses as well. I've enjoyed them all in different ways. Some are better than others. But I had a lot of fun with this as a movie. It's bonkers. None of it makes any sense at all. This, it's not only do you have now an inner verse, not just an outer verse, but you've got an inner verse. And it's, so it makes no sense. And very early on, you just think, right, I'm just going to just go with this, or I'm going to have to turn it off. Because you can't sort of do both.
No.
So I did, and have you seen this, Deej? Sorry, I'm not going to spoil it.
No, I haven't seen this one
Shane,
yet.
have you seen it?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
More fun.
But so I did enjoy it for as ridiculous as it was, and I think I put something up on Twitter about. Again, I won't spoil the context of it, but baby monkey nunchucks. It's something I never realized I needed to see. But having seen it, I was just like, I was laughing my head off at that. I thought that was inspired and outrageous all at the same time. So I did enjoy it because of how ridiculous it is. But I thought the home theater experience was particularly good in this as well. Again, bearing in mind, I watched it a night apart from Ghostbusters. And Deej, in The Batman, where we've talked about the beginning with the Riddler when he raises the duct tape and the sound goes above the screen as he raises his hand up and it goes up into the overheads. There's a moment right at the beginning of this where you first meet Kong running through the inner verse, whatever we're calling it. And as he's running through that, he jumps towards the camera. And as he jumps up, he roars. And the roar then comes from the screen up and over into the overheads. And that's all done in one very smooth movement, which I thought was very cool as a starting point to it. And then you get all the usual growls and thuds and everything else from there. But I thought that was quite a fun little moment that, again, most people not watching it in a home theater would miss it, not realize that they were even missing it. But I thought it was great for that home theater thing. Have you reviewed it, Shane? Is this one that you've reviewed or just something that you watched yourself?
No, I reviewed it. Honestly, I don't remember what I said about it. I don't think it was as good as the last one.
Mm-hmm.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
I can't really speak to it. I totally don't remember.
What blocked it out.
It didn't really resonate with you, is what you're saying. It's like
didn't leave a lasting memory in my mind.
Yeah, lizards and monkeys fighting, teaming up. It's just,
what's not to like?
I mean, I did see it at 3D at the theater, so I made sure I caught the 3D because I knew we were probably not going to get it for the home release. So I did see that. The 3D was okay. I can speak about that. I don't know. I just felt like after Skull Island, or what came last, Skull Island or King of the Monsters?
You had
Godzilla.
So we had
V
Godzilla
Kong.
2014. Then we had Skull Island, didn't we? Then we had King of Monsters. Then we had Godzilla versus King. Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Kong versus Godzilla, and then we've got this one. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I felt like after King of the Monsters, they just kind of in this whole other world. There's a whole other direction. Like the realism just is out the window now.
Wait, you had realism? They had you with realism at the beginning? I love going there when people say that. Like,
Godzilla
so a
was
giant
like...
lizard, that was realistic to you. Okay. All right. Now I know where, at least I got the starting point. Once that lizard goes underground, all right, I'm out. That can't happen. How'd you feel about Moonfall, Shane?
Ooh.
I like Moonfall.
Hey, see, like it.
I like the home theater experience, but the moon scraping the earth, not so much. So when you're running across the field trying not to get hit by the moon,
hell yeah,
gravity waves.
More believable than King Kong with a Nintendo Power Glove on his hand. I will say that.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. Yeah, it is a bit weird. But there are some fun little Sonic kind of little bits in this that are interesting. Like towards the beginning, bearing in mind they're supposed to be now, and this isn't a spoiler, DJ. They're in, Innerverse, Middle Earth, whatever you want to call it. And you can hear the sound to me anyway. I might have imagined this. I don't think I did, but I might have done. It sounds like it's in an enclosed space. So when they're on the surface, you've got the audio doing one thing, but when they're in the Innerverse, again, for one of a better
they give
term,
it like an indoor,
like an indoor
fun.
Yeah. Now I may have been imagining that. I don't think I was.
But that's good.
You get that kind of that enclosed sound to it. It doesn't echo like it does or feel as expansive as it does when they're on the surface. And that I thought was quite a nice little touch. Again, I may have been reading too much into this. But yeah, I did for an absolutely ridiculously bonkers movie, which again, doesn't make sense. It's all very odd. But they had me at Monkey Nunchucks, and I was there for the duration.
Yeah, we got Eddie Eddie Mogambo in the chat saying the sound design is quite amazing, better than -1. I have the Japanese 4K disc, although I preferred -1 the movie.
Have you seen -1, Shane? I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked it way better than X Kong there. Yeah, I mean, it's more of a dramatic piece rather than an action movie. So totally different movies.
They are. Yeah, quite. But yeah, -1. I mean, I can't wait to get that at home physically. We talked a few weeks back about whether there would ever be a physical release because Netflix had essentially bought it, and we were talking about whether it had been licensed. And it looks like it has been, because as I said, we are going to get this 4-disc all singing, all dancing version in September. I think you can like them both though, and I do. I can pick and choose between them. I think depending on which mood you're in. I mean, there's no question -1 is a proper film. Yes. This is just disposable popcorn entertainment. But -1 has a story. There's morals there.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it's great.
I mean, the way Eddie just described it, it's like I haven't seen this, X version yet, but this seems like from your description, everybody's description of this one, it lends itself to being a better audio track, like Eddie's saying. But the movie itself on -1, that movie doesn't lend it. It's not as much an action movie. It's more of a drama. But the action in it, I feel like, is some of the best, home theater experiences so far this year. And we've only experienced it streaming. The physical disc, I think, is going to be even better. Not as action packed, but great, home theater action nonetheless. So.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Cool. All right. Your choice, Steve. What do you want to do now? Oh, let's do this one since it's timely. Have you seen this one yet, Shane?
Oh,
Let me pull this up because I haven't,
Mhm.
and I meant to try and see it, but
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Mm.
Better than I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be.
Do you know what?
Hills
Do you
Cop,
know what, Shane?
Axel F.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Careful how you say the F. Although, frankly, with this movie, as with the other Beverly Hills Cop films, the F is probably quite deliberate.
Oh yeah,
because there's a lot of Fs in it.
This is rated R.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah, it's not like Beverly Hills Cop 3 where they went PG and John Landis jumped in. This is 1, 2, and 4. Do you know what, Shane? It's interesting that you say that. Better than I thought it would be, because that seems to be the constant refrain from this film. Everybody that I know who's seen it says the same thing, and it's exactly as I thought. What is this going to be like? And they all go, do you know what? It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they brought all the original music back and the themes back. So it was like an 80s movie all over again, just in modern times. So that was cool. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. I was from the minute one, it was like there was a jukebox going, of all the previous movies and all the motifs. It was just like, oh, now there's another needle drop, and then there's another one, and which really gets you back into it. And I would say this then is a bit like Top Gun, Deej, the Maverick, where you get Danger Zone and we're back.
Mm-hmm.
So once this begins with the Axel Foley theme, you're like, oh, here we are, okay, like a comfortable pair of shoes slipped back on. We know where we are. We're all comfortable. Now I can enjoy it. And I think it's snappy. The dialogue's well done. Some of the actors have aged somewhat differently. Poor old Judge Reinhold isn't looking too good in this. But everyone else is kind of okay and is all good. I mean, I haven't heard much about Judge Reinhold over here, but I gather there's been quite a bit of news over there over the years. I don't know. So I understand. I haven't heard of him at all for 20 odd years, but he looks like he's lived a life. I won't expand on that because we don't want to get sued. So other than that though, but the snappy dialogue, I mean, Eddie Murphy just seems to slip back into Axel Foley very, very easily indeed. And so you get that dialogue, but also some decent, I think, generally action scenes as well. Some are a bit silly, but I think most of them are pretty good and well done. And again, with that music that we all remember, if you're of a certain age, like you need a nap, that kind of thing. If you're a certain age, then it's just manna from heaven. We're right back to it. And whilst it's Netflix, it sounds great. It's in Atmos. It's in 4K UHD. I mean, there's some decent surround stuff. It's not brilliant. There's nothing here that I think you drag in your other half to say you've got to listen to this. But it's for the movie that it is. It's solid. It's enjoyable, and it's such a kind of engaging story and so much fun. I think this is one of those movies where you're not always concentrating on the HD experience because you're just kind of going along for the ride. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was really good. You're going to love it, Deej, I think, and I'll be interested to see what John makes of it when he gets around to it as well, because we all grew up with these movies. And I did like the fact, because I really don't like the third one. I hate the third one. I love 1 and 2, and the third one's dreadful. And there's
Wasn't that the one in a theme park or something?
Yeah. John Landis directed it. Yeah, and it was made under very trying circumstances, as I understand it. But there's a line in this that directly references how bad the third film was. Oh, really? And I won't tell you any more than that. Oh yeah. Did you catch that, Shane?
No, I didn't catch it.
Okay, so
I vaguely remember the third one. Yeah, I just remember something on a Ferris wheel. Was it a Ferris wheel in part three?
Yeah. They go to like Wally World. I think it is Wally World. I actually think, if I remember rightly, it is because of Landis and obviously with the
vacation.
All this. Yeah, I think it is Wally World. I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
There's a line in here which directly says, I won't spoil it for you, Deej, but that makes it clear that one was not a good movie.
Yeah.
But
the only thing that was missing in this that to really make him Axel Foley was he didn't do the Eddie Murphy Axel Foley laugh. Like not once.
Yeah. Really?
That's true. Yeah, that is true. Now that I think about it. Yeah. I wonder if he can still do it. Laugh. Maybe his voice no longer will let him do that.
Well, I saw an interview. He said he stopped doing it because everybody was laughing at his laugh.
Right.
And he didn't want his laugh to be known for his laugh. So he just totally stopped doing it. But I feel like that's like one of the things, at least for this movie, is one of his trademark things.
Yeah, that was like there was like a year, or maybe not even a year. It was probably months when Springsteen decided not to do Born to Run on his tour because he was like, I don't want that just to be the only reason people are there. But you're like, that's like that's why they're there. It's like you can't stop doing what like you know what I mean. That's what everybody wants. Like, oh my God, the one time you go, and you know, it's the same for Eddie Murphy. It's like. That's what we're like. It just cracks you up, even if you just do it a little bit. You're like, there it is. You're like,
He looks like he's about, I don't know, 50 in the movie. The other Taggart and Reinhold look like they're about 72.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they do.
weird,
They do.
yeah.
Reinhold in particular, you know, I mean, I don't know what's happened to him. But yeah, and I mean, it's all preposterous though, isn't it? None of these people would still be in the police force,
employed.
Even in a superior role, you know, in an elevated kind of position. There's no way they'd all have long been shipped off. Okay, how I say that. But yeah, so it is silly in that. But I thought it was great, and even the new characters. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's really good in it. You can see him there actually in that picture. He's good. There's a woman in there playing his daughter who's spiky and sparky and fun. Again, bearing in mind how it could have been, it is just much more enjoyable than that. And bearing in mind how 3 turned out, I think that's got to be commended.
How was like you guys were both saying, like, it's, you know, good home theater experience. It's nothing you're going to write home about, but how was the soundtrack? Did that feel more enhanced than like the older versions where like, cause you're saying it's like the same music, you know, to bring you back, but now it's like, this is produced to today's levels. Did it feel any better, or did the new version, like the remastered,
the Pointer Sisters are still the Pointer Sisters. I mean, the original songs. I think they might have updated the theme a little bit more. I mean, but it's still that's still there. I think that might have been updated a little bit, but all the songs are the original songs though.
Yeah, the heat is on, and you know, break down, is it, whatever it is? Take down. Yeah. So it is, to me, it sounded like a jukebox. It's like literally, here comes an action sequence, or you know, someone's put their 10 cents in, and off it goes. You know, that's kind of how it sounded to me, but in the best way, because again, it's like Maverick and Danger Zone. You can't have one without the other. You've got to have. Axel Foley has his theme, and then you know the rest of the music that goes with it. And I mean, they could have deliberately tried to shy away from that. You know, they could have thought, right, well, we're not going to go down that route. That's too predictable. But I think they know their audience and they know what you're there for. And that music is synonymous with Beverly Hills Cop. You can't have one without the other. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And I don't specifically remember. I mean, I've watched 1 and 2 relatively recently in 4K because they reissued them, didn't they, within the last sort of 12 months or 18 months or so. And this, I didn't particularly think that you know the front sound stage was wider than the others. It's of a piece, and I think you're right, Sean. I think it's deliberately. It's supposed to evoke the earlier films. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That sounds good. Lion Mage in the chat saying the music was all re-recorded. DJ, it was really good, and that's kind of what I was like. Because I've seen a lot of movies where it's like sometimes it's an older movie and they remaster it, and you're like, I've never heard breakdown sound this good, right? Like we've never heard it this good in the theaters or something. And that's what I was trying to like see what it was. But off a segue off of that, I saw this. My wife and I watched this the other day, and there is a music track. I don't know if either of you have seen this yet. We'll bring it up. The John Krasinski, it's kind of a kid's movie. If Imaginary Friends, it's Kaylee Fleming. I'm reading it off of the thing. Have you guys, either of you guys, seen this yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No,
I saw it. It was good. It was good. Good family movie.
Yeah, excellent family. I mean, I loved it, but like home theater wise, it's not like exactly a great home theater movie. But that probably the best Tina Turner video I've ever seen.
Yeah,
right?
that part.
Shane, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Wasn't that like HDR on that? The imagery was incredible, and the sound, like her music, what's going on, spoiler free. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but that to me, I was just like, I don't know if it's demo worthy, but it's one of those, like, I don't think you've ever seen anything like this. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a uplifting part of the movie for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
After they try to make you feel sad, they give you this.
I was saying that, talking to some people about this afterwards, and the way Ryan Reynolds, the way they manipulate your emotions through this movie is like Ryan Reynolds is hysterical, right? Like his sarcasm, his one-liners or whatever, and he's just like, his frustration, whatever you want to call it. It's so humorous, but then they bring you. I mean, this movie is an emotional roller coaster.
The only thing I thought was a little weird is like Ryan. I was like, Ryan, why are you wearing all these tight clothes for? I was like, why are you such a jacked?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like this
I
girl's
noticed that too.
This girl's friend. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And you see, and especially Krasinski he totally rocked the dad bod, but he'd done Jack Ryan where he had to get in shape. But then you have Ryan Reynolds. You're like, how off of filming Deadpool 3 are you for this? Right? And you're 100%. I thought the same thing. I thought the same exact thing. Because there's scenes where I don't think they're trying to accentuate it, but he's got the shirt on and it's like super tight and like his triceps are all flexed. And I'm like, this isn't the movie for that. Like, what are you doing?
I do like the running Brad Pitt gag he's got going on.
Yes. I don't want to say what it is. I don't want to say what it is because I want people to find it themselves, but I 100% agree.
I'm sure he's going to make an appearance in Deadpool 3. He's got to.
Yeah, well, he was in 2, wasn't he?
Appearance?
Well,
right? I saw that. I don't want to give it away, but Shane knows what I'm talking about. Anybody that's seen it knows. Maybe they haven't seen what we're talking about, but when you see it, I was like, I said to my wife, I was like, oh my God. And I had to explain the gag to her because she doesn't know the rest of the story. But yeah, it's really, really good. Really good.
You know he's in Deadpool 2, right? I know. Steve
Me?
knows that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the little blink and you miss him.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. So what is that ISF movie on look at the picture, Deej?
Where?
Your picture. Next to If.
Oh, yeah, images. Oh, next to it. Yeah, that's just a test pattern for Kaleidoscape. I'm like, what am I looking at? Yeah, what is that? Yeah, it's just test patterns for the Kaleidoscape. You can adjust your stuff. Yeah.
Did you download the trailers, the demo trailers?
For
the Chernoff trailers. Sound demos.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Even though I don't have a Chernoff. Yes, I did download them.
Did you get you have the Dolby trailers too, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You play with all that stuff when you first get your Kaleidoscape. You're like, oh, I want to look at this. And then they have the kid dancing in the fountain for the video. And then you're doing all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You play with all that stuff. Come on. Yeah. So,
all right.
But yes, If is a great family movie, but you don't have to have a family to watch it. It is. I mean, I thought it was a fun home theater experience, but I really enjoyed the movie as well. So, but yeah. All right. Where are we at right now? Oh, we got 10 more minutes. Steve, do you want to do one more?
Spin the dial. Go on, Deej. What you choose? You choose.
All right.
Perhaps don't do the one where I watch the 2 sequels because we'll do that next week with those ones kind of back to back, as it were. Right.
You want to do this one? Oh, I've been dying to see this ever since it came. I wanted to see it in the theater, and I didn't even get to see it. So, all right, let's hit this. We'll wrap up with this one here. So,
yeah, okie dokie. So this one is Bob Marley, One Love on 4K Blu-ray in Dolby Atmos. Have you seen this, Shane?
I have not seen that. Nope.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, I would not have gone to the theaters to see it. I wouldn't have gone to the theaters to see it. Although I'm curious about it. I'm not really a music person. I don't really know much about music, much more about movies. But I do like Bob Marley's music. Some of the stuff is iconic, and so I was looking forward to seeing this. And it's an unusual biopic in as much as some biopics either go right from when they were children right up to where they become famous. Like Elvis is a perfect example of that, where you go right through their lives. This, or as other biopics, and this is one of them, starts when he's already famous, he's already well known, and is building towards a particular event in his life. And in this occasion, he's building towards a peace concert that I think is in 78. And so he's already famous when it begins. He's living in Jamaica, where there is a lot of political upheaval and there are a lot of killings. And he flees that, comes to London, and then begins work on the Exodus album, which is apparently, so I now know from this, one of the most well-regarded, well-reviewed albums of all time. Right now, I sound like an authority. It comes from the movie.
Yeah, it's an educational
full
piece
disclosure.
as well.
It is, well, quite. It is. And so, but as a movie, it's interesting because I think the problem with biopics that do this is they require you to have a certain amount of knowledge about the person already. Because they don't go right back to the beginning. You've got to know a bit about their background anyway. And this gives little flashes of his upbringing, but doesn't give you the whole the A to B to C of it. And so that's a little bit alienating initially, and it takes a little while to get into it. And a number of the reviews that I've read have kind of lambasted the movie for that a bit. But once you kind of get into the rhythm of it, and if you'll forgive the expression, it actually is a well-told story, and the concept that it builds towards is really good. And the chap that plays Bob Marley just inhabits it. He really is believable as that character. I never really caught him acting as such. So I thought it was good. It's an engaging story, and when he arrives back in Jamaica for this concert, it happens to play a song that has particular personal relevance to me and resonance to me, and it sounded amazing. And you talk Shane about and Deej about music and how it sounds when it's been remastered. Yeah. Well, this particular song, which is Three Little Birds for me, it's a long story, but it's got real resonance for me. When that kicks in, it is like you are on stage with him. Oh. You've got it all around. The best parts of A Star Is Born, where they're doing that with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. It feels like you're on the stage with them, and you can hear the audience behind, and you can hear all the instruments moving around. It's like that, and it sounds fantastic and way better than it would have ever been done before, unless presumably you were there at that concert.
Right.
Although even then, I mean, the reproductive sort of audio acoustic stuff then would have been pretty poor. So, who can say? But anyway, It sounds great in this, and then the concert begins and you get that stuff. So I thought that the story is engaging enough. The main performance is great, and the music, if you like it, and if you don't, then why would you be watching this? It sounds great. Yeah. It's digitally shot. It's done, it's razor sharp. There's never any kind of, there's no obtrusive grain. There's no sort of issues with that. It's been shot very, very carefully and well. So it looks really good, sounds good, and well worth picking up if you're interested in the subject matter. So I thought it was great and well worth seeing. Deej, I think you'll like it. Is it out over there?
Oh yeah, I have
I don't know
if I have it on Kaleidoscape. Well, I have it on Kaleidoscape. Good. I don't know if it's out here yet. I haven't looked. But maybe you can answer this. It's like, I don't know his full story either, but what I got out of the trailer, I was hooked as soon as I saw the trailers, and it was the message I was getting through the trailers, and why I wanted to see it is it seemed like they were showing like the passion it takes to produce what you want to produce, to be who you want to be as an artist. And that, to me, especially with him, I was like, this is what I want to see. Right. I want to see how they do that. And is that like kind of what it was? And you were just surprised at how much you didn't know? Or did they nail that? Or was that just all trailer stuff?
No. I mean, he definitely, the tortured artist comes out in this. There's no question about it. And why it's not just art for art's sake. It's not just I'm giving this to the world. The movie is about using art, and in this case, his music, to heal an entire country, because Jamaica at that time, so I've now discovered, they were at each other's throats. There were two political parties. See if this sounds familiar. Yeah, there were two very divided political parties who were not getting on well, and each one, was at each other's throats, and it was getting really bad, and there was violence and all the rest of it. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? Anyway,
Wherever
in
you are in
Jamaica,
the world, it sounds
yeah,
familiar.
well, quite. But in Jamaica and so you had two political parties who were literally killing each other. I mean, there were shootings, there were drive-bys, there were everything else. And again, I won't spoil the story, but Bob Marley is literally brought into that. I mean, he faces exactly that. And so it's about art as a healing form, something that you don't just do to throw out into the world, but you do it to actually create healing. And then, and it goes into that in a lot of detail. But yeah, I learned a lot about him. I didn't know a lot about him to begin with, and you do get that from this. But the music is what any biopic should be about if it's to do with a musician, and it sounds great. And so I do recommend this. If you like this kind of thing, this is the movie to see, and is worth putting on your list. Yeah. So, and if you've already downloaded it, then you're halfway there.
I just got to push play.
Yeah. Is it the kind of thing that you're into, Shane? Do you kind of watch music biopics? Is that not really your bag, or?
I haven't seen any real reviews for it, but if you say it's good, you say the Atmos is good, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah,
it's worth seeing. I mean, again, it's only based on my ears rather than a Trinov to be able to see what it's doing. But it did what it did what I wanted it to do. It brings you into it. Which is cool. But do you normally watch biopics like that, or is that not the sort of thing you'd normally choose to watch?
I think the last one I saw was Oppenheimer. If that counts. Did
you see Elvis?
Yeah, I would watch it. I mean, I saw Elvis. Elvis was okay. Elvis was all decent. Rocket Man was a little cheesy for me, but yeah, I would definitely watch it for sure.
Okay, I'll be curious to see what you think of it. Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Cool. All right.
Right, so we'll save the rest for next week, Deej.
Yep.
I should be all right for a good couple of weeks. I've now got a nice sort of store of them now built up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's crazy. All right. There we are. 7:00. Shane, crazy. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry to bug you.
I have to go sleep normal time now.
Dropping in again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The
ruined his
nap
time.
Is keep quiet. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for jumping on. That was awesome. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody else in the chat, thank you very much. Thanks for the past couple of weeks to everybody in the messages. I had a quick here, Eddie Trochez in the chat. He said, sup. I did have a conversation with him while I was away. My friend's restaurant had an issue with their Sonos, blah, blah, blah. I called up Eddie and I'm like, what can I do for this? And we worked through it. So he was awesome. And their Sonos is running awesome right now. So everything's great there. So thanks, Eddie, for that. And Eddie's down your way, Shane. I think he's an integrated. He does like home theater and whole home audio stuff. He's in like the New York area, New York City, all around, kind of down south in there, Jersey. I think, right, Eddie? If he's still in the chat, but I know you're in that general vicinity, right, Shane?
Within a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple 2-3 hours. But yeah, so yeah, everybody, thank you very much. Thanks for everything, like I said earlier. And Shane, Steve, go watch Shane's stuff. Get yourself caught up.
I've got 5 months to catch up on in 5 days. I will. I'll do my best.
Yeah, Shane Lee on YouTube, everything. It's like, I mean, crazy you're popping in here, but thank you very much. And thanks for answering the text.
That'll teach him.
Exactly. All right, let's get out of here. Everybody have a great week. We will be back next week. I promise. But all right, talk to everybody later. Where's my stuff? And there it is. No, that's not it. That's not it. All right. What do you got to do?
Go push play.
What he said.
It is right.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.